What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the More Than a Side Hustle podcast, where we help 9-to-5ers create more impact, income, and influence outside their jobs. My name is Mr. Hard Dog Hustle himself, Anthony.
Oh, okay. And I'm Janoka. And thank you for listening to us. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube and also make sure you're listening and downloading episodes on wherever you listen to us at. That can be Apple, Spotify, Yahoo, Google. So thank you for coming back. Yahoo, they got a thing.
Maybe Yahoo Music, Google Music. I don't know.
I think they
leave us a 5-star review if you've listened to this before and you think we are a 5-star podcast. So we're gonna be talking about 10 lessons that we've learned in business over these past 8. We didn't have 10. Janoka didn't have 10. So we might come up with 10 as we go along. But we're gonna talk about 8 business lessons we learned over these last few weeks.
There's lessons happening.
And Alex Hermosi had tweeted. Let me pull up my tweet, man. He said, once you become an entrepreneur, you have only 2 options. You eventually succeed or you give up before you do. That's it. And we know when people start quoting Alex Hermosi, they think they're the best entrepreneurs ever. So
what? Is that the T?
That's literally it. Once you have people who are brand new to entrepreneurship start quoting Alex Hermosi, it's like, okay, here we go.
Oh.
Luckily, we've been doing this for 8 years now, and we've only been in our lives the last 2. But I thought that tweet was literally the definition of entrepreneurship. It's like, you don't really know when you're gonna, like, when that thing is gonna hit, like when it's going to take off.
You have no idea.
And the only option is to do it or not. And once you stop, it's over. You will never know if it's gonna take off.
Yeah, which is part of the reason why I think that you should have, and the only reason you're able to know to continue to do, or able to continue to do, is if you have capital to do so. If you have the finances to do so. Now,
or
of
you
course,
have the grind.
The grind. Yeah, I was going to say, of course, there's some stories that people will be like, I was dead broke, making sure, doing these different things. But there's not a lot of people in the world that has that much hunger and grit to continue to do it when you're losing or you don't have any.
Like 50 Cent got shot 9 times, but I'm still breathing.
Well, I don't know if that was...
He could have quit rap right there. He would have
probably should have, but maybe not because of where he's at in life. So luckily it worked out for him. But it's not a lot of people that really has that grit that you can try even while being broke down, depressed, and things like that. So majority of the society is not going to operate that way.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we also speak about having capital to be able to continue when things ain't going well, because things ain't gonna go well.
Never start anything on your last dime unless you got that 50 Cent hunger and you like,
okay,
I'm going to make it. It has to work or it has to work.
Yeah.
And these past weeks have been, I don't want to say hard, but it's been challenging. And
challenging is a good one.
We're going to talk about a couple lessons that we learned over the last couple weeks when it comes to business and just some takeaways that, everything for me especially. I'm always thinking about the takeaways. I'm always thinking about you shaking your head.
Because I'd be like, not everything is a takeaway. I'm just operating here.
There are takeaways I believe that we can all have, and that's why I wanted to bring it to the episode today. And one of the first things that have been, especially, and you guys getting some insight into our lives when it comes to business, one of our payment processors literally stopped working. Mm-hmm. Now, what is a payment processor? So essentially, the way you process payments, they said is going to be stopped on this date, and no rhyme or reason. There was no phone calls or anything. There was nothing we could have done about it, and they literally stopped. Now, you may say, okay, just get another one, which is fine and dandy, but when you have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that are happening recurringly, which means it happens week, daily, monthly, and all those payments stop, there is no just find another one, right? There is no just, oh, you could do this, and I don't want to hear none of that, because now I'm losing money.
Now you're losing money.
That happened, and when I say that was just
that took over a lot of mental space.
Mental, physical.
A lot of conversations.
Do
this, don't do this.
And when you Google it, you're like, yeah, this has happened to multiple people before in the past, and it's like, yeah, my multi-million-dollar business was shut down, and I just had to pivot. And I'm like, if they're able to say that I'm just gonna pivot, well, I guess we could do the same with a couple thousand.
We have to.
So that was literally something that we were just.
But you made it work. We made it work, right? So
no. I want them to feel my pain before we just go to I made it work. It's like, well,
because you have to make it work, right? You could. Why would you just say like You can't just say, all right, they're shutting things down. The biggest thing I think is also, remember, you don't own anything with all these companies that you're working with. So you don't own YouTube. You don't own Instagram. You don't own anything, first of all. So you're utilizing them. They're taking a cut. You're getting a cut. But at the end of the day, they can do what they want to do.
You know what? You want to talk about that Airbnb thing you sent me?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one, too. Was that?
That's not on your list.
That's on my list, but where would you put that? Maybe that's a separate thing or a part of this payment processor. Could be.
I would say it could be the same thing.
But, yeah, the fact is you don't own anything, and I'll just bring it into this. So I saw a tweet, and I sent it to Anthony that apparently someone had a Airbnb property. They had great reviews, like a super host. If you didn't know, if you're a super host on Airbnb, you're doing really well. And they also had upcoming bookings of over, I think they said $100,000. Apparently they tweeted something that I personally don't think it was too crazy. I don't remember. He said what he had tweeted too. He tweeted something, and that is what impacted Airbnb to shut down his profile. Just like, that's it. If you don't know, some of these companies don't have a phone number. There is no talking to someone. There's just no email rationale. Back and forth. They didn't allow for opportunity investigation or anything like that. But it was something to do with something that he had tweeted. I guess they didn't like it, and they found his profile on Airbnb. He didn't mention that, but found his profile on Airbnb and shut it down. Now that's your livelihood, right? If I don't know if he has other businesses, but that's your livelihood that you're just done. Yeah. Got to find another platform. If they allow that, I don't even know. Completely shut down. Now that is just an example of the fact that you don't own any of these businesses. You work with them. Yes, it's a partnership. It's a contract. But at the end of the day, they can do what they want when they want.
I'm gonna bring that to this point is like never rely on a third party to help you run your business. So this is about the payment processor, but this is also about running your business on Airbnb. You have an Airbnb business. That is a challenge because now Airbnb is the business and they're just sending you what they want to send you, right? Mm-hmm. If you have a short-term rental business that just happens to be ran on Airbnb
as well,
or VBRO or short-term, rental stays or any of these platforms, okay. But and then we talk about the cleaning business all the time. People are like, oh, I'll run my business on Thumbtack, or I'll run my business on Angie's List, and it's like, no, you should not be running your full-blown business on these platforms because once they take you off, you are now shut down. So the lesson in that is always have a backup plan and taking action. So for us, we're not talking about our business is based on multiple platforms, right? And we own our own traffic. Once we have the leads, they're ours. Mm-hmm. Airbnb doesn't let you own that traffic. They keep the name, email, phone number. That's theirs. You can never remarket to those clients unless you kind of do your own thing. So you don't actually own that. But always have a backup plan. Now, if they shut you down on Airbnb, maybe you could send everybody to VRBO. But again, you don't start over now. You don't have that contact information. You're kind of stuck. So when it came to our payment platform, I would have said for us, if we would have had a backup plan more immediate, that would have helped. But I think if we would have took action sooner, we would have been able to save some of that more recurring income. But action over perfection every single day of the week. So don't build your business off of somebody else's back on somebody else's platform. That would probably be rule number one.
Okay. Number two, this story. Now, this is just like a business story. Now, what could be the takeaway from that? Don't back down from these big companies. Maybe it. So
they own that. What you gonna do? What you gonna do to Airbnb?
No, not talking about that. I'm talking about this story here.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to see what the lesson would be. I don't know if I have a lesson for it, but it is an interesting story, and maybe you'll get something for it. There is a TikToker whose name was Sierra Mist, spelled differently from the soda brand Sierra Mist, but
people may not know what that is.
The soda?
Yeah.
Who don't know if you don't know is that a East Coast soda? Like, what do you mean?
I'm just saying, people's ages range when they watching this show.
And location matters.
You haven't seen Sierra Mist in a while, and you never wondered why. That's the topic right there.
That's the topic? Okay, well, Sierra Mist is a soda that was a brand that's always been associated to Sprite. In my head, at least. Like, if someone doesn't have a Sprite, maybe they got a 7-Up or a Sierra Mist.
You haven't seen 7-Up either.
You haven't seen 7-Up either, but I don't have a story for 7-Up. Maybe they'll have a 7-Up or Sierra Mist. They taste similar. Now, if you're a soda connoisseur, you may be like, no, they're not. I don't know the details, but they're clear sodas that got some bubbles. They taste similar. But Sprite is obviously more popular than Sierra Mist. But we haven't seen Sierra Mist because, and you might not have noticed it, neither have I, But I saw a TikTok. There was a TikToker with the name Sierra Mist in her name, but I think she spelled it with an S or something. And Pepsi, who owns Sierra Mist, sent her like a cease and desist and said, you got to change your name. It's too similar to our soda, Sierra Mist. She, in turn, I don't know if this was the thought of her and her lawyers. I have no idea who thought of this. Decided to, I guess, check the trademark of Sierra Mist and saw that it had expired, and she bought the trademark and now owns the trademark of Sierra Mist the soda. So they have changed the name now. So that's
not even a kicker. Here's the kicker.
They've now changed the name to Starry. Now, you might have seen these commercials because Ice Spice is in the commercial. So it's a really recent commercial of a Starry drink, and that is the former Sierra Mist, basically. It's like an unbelievable story of how, you see, like, what is the lesson? I'm like, I don't know, don't back down.
Or protect your ish.
Protect yourself. Her thing was that, why are they coming after me? One,
I'm not selling soda.
I'm not selling soda. Two, I don't spell it the same way as you guys. And three, I'm like, nobody. I think she had traction. Like, she has followers. I think when you go on it now, I don't know how many followers she has on TikTok and on YouTube. But she's just like, I don't understand why they came for me. And now she's like, yeah, I won't sell it back. They've asked me to. It's been rumored that they've offered to sell, give her $10 million, but she said no. We don't know how true this is. But yeah, she owns Sierra Mist now, the trademark. So Pepsi, the big company Pepsi, had to change the name of their soda to Starry. And that's the other thing. Be ready to pivot.
Be ready to pivot. So
be ready to pivot.
At the end of the day, we're not worried about Sierra Mist because Starry is now
it. Ice Spice is one of the biggest people in the,
be ready to pivot
right now. So
that is the business lesson for that one, because when you told me that story, I'm like, we got to tell this story on a podcast some way, shape, or form.
You're like, how do people not know this? I'm like, it just came up on my feed.
I'm like, why didn't we know this? And we didn't even think about Sierra Mist at all, but we just see the Starry. We never wondered where it came from.
But, I thought about it as well in relation to, because we speak to our students and people talk about, we speak to our students and people talk about, should I trademark my name or should I trademark my logo? And I'm like, nobody cares about you. Not disrespectful to you. Nobody cares. And if they do, just change it. Just change it. Specifically for the cleaning business. There may be things that, it's a bigger brand and you may not want to do that. But for the cleaning, I'm like, just change it. It's not that deep. So Pepsi had to go and change it. I guess they wanted to keep Starry around.
Sierra Mist is Starry, and same colors, same branding in a way.
You can tell.
If you look, and if you now know, you're like, I can see how that makes sense. But they're in the NBA and they do all these sports commercials and stuff like that. So I thought that was I was like, wow. I was so amazed by that story. I was like, how is this not like
everywhere?
But
probably because Sierra Mist wasn't.
This is one of the things that you get from TikTok that I'm like, okay, this TikTok thing is actually useful and helpful. So hopefully it's not banned in the US. So what did I have? So number 3 for me was make more offers. Your audience want to buy something from you. They just don't know what else you have.
Right.
So we have our Cleaning Business University, our signature course, and we have our Cleaning Business University community, which is our signature platform as well. But we realized that there were students who wanted more from us, but we just didn't recognize it. I think we recognized it, but we wasn't really sure what they would want. So we used to do these 8-week programs or 4-week or 6-week. We kind of just guide you through and walk you through and kind of give you that extra support and help. And we was like, let's just do it again. And we rolled it out, and I'm not going to say the numbers, but we were a week and a half. We got, quite a few people in there that was just like, I just needed more help. And I didn't know where else to get the help from. And I want you guys to remember that people are on your list. People buy from you once. They can always buy from you again. So don't be afraid to remarket an offer or just make more offers. If someone joins our list, that means at some point they wanted to buy something from us, right? They were ready to go. They were excited, and they might have bought something, but there was nothing else that they could buy.
Or they could afford.
Or they could afford at the time. So always making offers to your audience. If they are on your list, whether it's Target, whether it's Walmart, whether it's JCPenney or Macy's, they are always marketing to you. So always market and offer to your audience, because they want to buy something. You got to give them the ability to buy something.
And I think about that in a bigger capacity, because somebody be like, well, how does it pertain to the cleaning business? How does it pertain to this? I think about, like, for a sec, I don't know if you guys know Bays, the luggage brand. They started out as just as luggage, right? But then it turns into backpack laptop bag, a baby bag, a diaper bag, like all different type of your travel caddy, all different things, extensions of that because people want more, right? So for the cleaning business, you're like, yeah, I clean. Can you offer organizing? Can you offer carpet cleaning? Can you offer, laundry? Like there's other things you can do that can be an extension probably in any business that you have that you're not thinking of that people that have bought from you already would like, just don't know how to ask. Like they're not going to come back and say, hey, you don't got this. You should have this in your store. Some people will, but most people will not come back and just give that information. So try to think of how can you help your clients on all levels, if anything, those that may be just starting out, those that want more, those that can't afford it those that can afford it lower. So that's something that we've definitely been thinking about continuously the past few weeks.
And then even with the last coaching calls we've been doing was we had one of our students come back and he started his business maybe in 2023 or something like that. And he came back, I think he's doing about $5,000 a month. And he was like, I came back because, I wanted more help, but I didn't want the larger group community, and you guys came and offered this, and the last time you did it, it was closed. So now when we opened it back up, he was all in. But one of the things the group has reminded me of is that we're afraid to just remarket to our current audience. So we're talking about emails, we're talking about text messages, we're talking about, hey, getting back on the schedule, or if they were a current client or they were a current lead, remarketing to them as well. We're like, well, I don't want to bug them. I don't want to annoy them. But then you always give the Target, the Walmart, those examples where they will always be in your inbox. So if someone was on your email list once and they wanted something, who says they don't want it again? So don't be afraid to just remarket your offers to your current client base or just previous leads. So that's just a reminder for everyone.
Yep. Because if they're not, they will just unsubscribe.
And I want you to unsubscribe.
You can unsubscribe if you don't want to get my emails. It's real easy. The quicker you unsubscribe, the quicker I get to the person that I'm looking for, or the person that is looking for me finds me. Speaking of Target. Now, we in Target probably 2 to 3 times a week. Okay? Which is nuts. But Target has branded themselves, and they're like, I really would probably listen. They probably should have a show or a documentary on the marketing or psychology of Target. And I say this because now, like, even our daughter knows that she wants to buy something. She wants to go to Target to buy it. One, you can buy any and everything there, right? There is it depends on what Target, but we have a super Target. So you can buy groceries, straight to clothes, straight to toys, books, electronics, bathroom stuff, kitchen stuff, arts and craft, gift cards, anything you need, you can probably find in Target. But we say like the branding of it because Anthony was saying, well, do you think she would know Walmart? And I'm like, well, we don't go to Walmart. But he's like, even if say we did go to Walmart versus Target, do you think she'll know it like that? I said, maybe she'll know the name. But what Target has done is they allow you to buy a shopping cart for kids, right? They sell shopping carts with products in it. It's their red shopping cart. Same thing as a store. They also sell a Target cash register, which is a red cash register with white on it. Then it comes with a shopping bag, which is like the red with the circles, whatever, the Target logo. And it has like a Target dog, if you didn't know. All of that is included in these things. So the branding, go ahead.
I was going to say, even a step deeper on that is the products inside those Target bags are the Good and Gather. I think that's the name of it.
That's their brand.
Target's brand, like the little fake cereal, fake Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, is the Good and Gather. Now she has that, and she knows what that is.
And she can see it and know it. So they have really, the psychology behind it, besides people just being obsessed with Target, it's like, it's that running joke. I walk in to buy one thing, I leave with 7, or I spent 100 and I came to spend 20. It's that running joke of that, but there is a lot of truth behind that, and especially with your children and stuff. So the marketing behind Target is genius, I would say. The convenience of it, they allow you to check out independently. I don't know the details of it, but it should be studied what Target is doing and how they're able to sustain and continue to grow year after year after year. As a supermarket, I don't even know what they call it. A department store? I don't even know what to call that at this point. Question. Probably a department store.
And I don't think it's a supermarket. What makes them different from a Walmart? I think
Walmart is less expensive. Absolutely.
And I think one of the things is just the branding itself, right? You could get
stands out. Probably.
It's like the iPhone and an Android. The Android is a better phone.
It is definitely
all around. The quality, the gadgets, the ads, the pictures, everything about the Android is a superior phone.
Yeah.
But Apple has branded themselves as a superior branded product.
Right.
So you as a consumer now think you're better than an Android user based on the branding of the Apple product. Android, you don't really see their commercials too much. I mean, they got commercials, but it's not.
Do they? That's a good
question. Not. So Apple was able to brand itself as a luxury product, even though the Android itself,
Apple has Apple events. Android doesn't have Android events.
I have no idea.
Oh,
but they've been able to brand themselves in such a way where people are now like, I'm better than you because I have an iPhone and you don't. So
you're showing up green in my phone.
I think that's you mess up the group chats as well.
Exactly.
So when it comes to even with the Target, I was like, I don't want to go to Walmart because it's just dirty and nasty and
it's just different.
And I walk into Walmart. It might be cheaper, but it's just things are just all over the place. The aisles are just all over the place, and you don't know where anything is, and you can't find any help. And I mean, Target may be the same wherever you live, but I know for a fact the Target that's by me and the Walmart that's by me is just night and day.
It's two different things.
It's two different experiences just walking in.
The experience, yeah.
So how can you brand yourself?
The experience.
How can you brand yourself as an experience versus just being the bottom of the barrel when it comes to pricing? Because that's what Walmart is. Walmart rollback, that little smiley face.
Oh, yeah.
That's all they got. But we know Target got the nice dog with the spot eye and it's cute.
And as soon as you walk into Target, or at least our Target to the left is Starbucks. That's part of branding. If people enjoy that, many people like coffee.
I don't know what Walmart has.
They don't have a big...
They don't have something. I have no idea. We don't go to Walmart enough. We got to go do an experiment at Walmart. How about that? We got to come back.
We got to measure and come back on that.
Because it's literally the same. It might be the same distance from Walmart to Target. We just don't go.
Might be. You might be right. But yes, the marketing psychology of Target, I think it's something, a sight to see, if you will. Like I said, I get emails from them all the time. Most of the time I just delete it. Sometimes I open it up and star it and say, okay, I need to get this.
So next one was draw a line in the sand. So this one was an interesting one. So I tweeted about, what was literally the tweet? So I said, people think about the return on investment. People always say, no. Let me get the actual tweet. I want the real tweet because I want you guys to know exactly what I said and how I said it. So it was a tweet about buying a house, right? And I said, I don't even know where it came from.
You put it on the page, on the Instagram page.
Oh, that buying a house is a bad investment goes out the window when you have a wife and kids. You don't buy a house when you have a family as a good investment. You buy a house because you're making a good life decision for your family. Mm-hmm. And that tweet got some. Because
are you saying you have a bad life decision if you choose an apartment?
No, so this is why I say
that's why I say that.
So that's the thing about drawing the line in the sand, because people are going to either fall in love with what you're saying or they're going to absolutely hate it. So you got to be able to draw your line in the sand. So like, I'll tweet some things from time to time. I'll say there is no such thing as good debt.
And then where you draw the line?
That's the line. No, the line is, I'm not saying, people are like, oh, there's good debt and bad debt. I'm saying there is no such thing as good debt. And now people who are saying, oh, well, you could use debt to buy an investment, which makes you money.
The word debt alone is not positive.
So that's what I'm saying. So when it comes to drawing a line in the sand, you're going to get the people who are more likely aligned with you on your side, but then also the people who are not in alignment with you are now going to treat it as controversy. Mm-hmm. So that tweet was kind of like I don't want to say a clickbaity tweet, but it's one of those things I know people are going to disagree with because
like the question I just asked. So does that mean I'm making a bad decision if I give one?
So like Ramit Sethi, like, I'll teach you how to be rich. Like,
yeah.
I got my guy's book. Like, literally, I read the book. Or you read the book. We both read the book, right? We've read the book. So he's one of those guys that talks about
not owning a house.
Not owning a house. He's like, buying a house is a bad investment most of the time. Mm-hmm. And with
his scenarios, most of the time, these people he's speaking with, he's right.
Yeah. So when I tweeted that, it was like, I said, buying a house is a great return on life. Not a return on money, not a return on investment, a great return on life. I said, if you're married with kids, buying a house is a great return on life. And people started commenting like, oh, that makes sense because you're thinking about, like, I always come to you about, oh, what's the return on the investment? Or this, like, sometimes you just want stuff because it's a great return on your life. Yeah. And I think Alani was like in the backyard with Blue or something like that. And I'm like, damn, I couldn't imagine being back in an apartment, not having this space and freedom to just do our own thing. Now, buying a house might not be a great investment for some people, but it was like, it's a great return on life. So that was just about drawing a line in the sand, especially when it comes to just creating a brand for yourself and just want to be known for something or not known for anything else. That was just one of those things that I thought was pretty interesting because it started going my version of viral. I'm like, all right, let me mute this. And then, people sending me comments and tweets from, oh, this person says this about our house. And it wasn't about you. It wasn't about me. It was just about the opinion on a return on life. So drawing a line in the sand when it comes to just building your brand, but then also standing on something.
Standing your 10 feet down.
That's it. And I still don't stand back. And I read his book and we watched the YouTube and we didn't watch the Netflix special, but it's the same thing as a book. and the funny thing is I don't disagree with my guy, but it's like I don't think he has kids. I don't know how long he's been married, but the tweet was for people who are married with kids.
Yeah.
They're going to think differently.
If the shoe don't fit.
Yeah, they're going to think differently than a person who's just married.
Absolutely.
Or a person who's single or a person who's just dating, right? So,
yeah, because if we were married, I mean, for us, when we were married for 6 years before we got into a house with our dog, and we probably would have stayed in the apartment a lot longer if we didn't have kids. So I would agree completely with that because we don't mind apartment living.
Absolutely not. We had the amenities, we had the sky, and we had the gym and the pool and all of that.
Yeah, I would agree.
But going back to return on life, having Lonnie being able to run through the backyard in her slippers and whatnot. So being able to make a line in the sand and standing on business.
So number 6 is not to be too consumed about protecting your family name. You forget to protect your own family. So this was from a Netflix special that we watched. A Man in Full is the name.
Repeat that one more time.
Okay. Don't be so consumed about protecting your family name, you forget to protect your family. So A Man in Full is the show that we watched that
was a good one.
I think it's like 7 episodes on Netflix. A quick watch. You can check it out. Where it was just a real estate mogul that had a lot of debt. And the bank was basically asking for their money back because he was spending it lavishly. Essentially, that's the synopsis of it. There's more to the show, but that was the synopsis of it. And he was all like, when he's a mogul, like close to, I don't know how much he
it was like 900 million
owned or something like that, but he was very rich. So, power and everything plays into that. And he was so focused on just like making sure of like pride and you not taking me down.
His name was on like the sky rise that he owned.
Yeah. Rightfully so, I guess. He was so focused on that, but when it came to the family side, he had a divorce. He had a new wife, but he also had a child. Not the best relationship, but it seems like the son was just like, you're like, this is my dad, and I'm gonna stick beside him. He was just trying to be around him, but he didn't have the best relationship when it came to family and even friends. I wouldn't say he had that many friends either. So it was just kind of like, we are not at that point, obviously, of owning 900 million. So I don't know how I would act, but I would hope that I would still maintain the love and the friendships and things that I've had around me and not just focus on only the business. Now, I know people say people that are billionaires or people that are up there, they have to be a certain way to maintain that. Okay. But the point of all of it really is generally to give back to your family, right? Is generally, I want to make this money for me to live a good life and my family to live a good life. And if I don't have those connections, then really, what's the point? What am I still climbing for?
Yeah, that was a really good show. Number 1, you guys should watch it. What is it? A Man in Full.
Yeah, and he won't be watching nothing.
And I don't watch a lot of things, but this kind of goes to the same thing where we see where people are like, you got to change your circle, but you never see those people who really get successful at that level around the same people that they either grew up with or they don't really have that tight circle of friends or family or influence. And I would say Kanye West is an example of that, where he got so, you don't see him with anybody around him, really.
Well, you can't compare Kanye West because things have escalated for him.
But I'm saying, like, usually you
push people away.
Yeah, that's the exact point I'm making, is that you get so super wealthy where you're just consumed with what you're trying to get to, what you're trying to obtain. You forget everything that's happening around you. And then that was just a reminder, like we was watching the show and I'm like, damn, his relation with his family is not that good. He really don't got that many friends. And his closest friend is like a lawyer who has to like help him out of jams and stuff like that. So don't get so consumed on chasing whatever that thing you're chasing that you forget the reason you're doing it for. And I think that's what the whole show, in my opinion, as I'm watching it, was about, because He wasn't well liked, not many friends, not many family members around him, and he was just trying to get out these binds and chase these next things. So don't be too consumed about the end goal that you forget the reason you're doing it for.
Yep.
So that was the gem from that one.
Number 7, Red Lobster. Now, if you didn't know, we'll get to the lesson of it. But Red Lobster is my favorite restaurant, and Red Lobster has filed bankruptcy and started closing down locations. Like they just one day they announced it, the next day they're like, we closing locations. Mm-hmm. So our crew here in Dallas decided to go out to Red Lobster to make sure our kids at least has experienced some Cheddar Bay biscuits to say that they've had it. I wasn't in town to celebrate there, but Anthony said while there, they met someone really interesting.
Yeah. So this is about just finding good people in unlikely places. Mm-hmm. So imagine this. Let me give you guys a scenario. So imagine you go to your job and your boss is like, yeah, we're going to close down in a couple weeks, right? Mm-hmm. And you still show up to work because you still want to get paid.
Did this location say they were closing soon? I just went.
We didn't. They didn't know. They didn't have any idea.
They didn't know.
We asked the people that were there, like, when you guys are gonna close, and they were like, we don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
So imagine, actually, you know what? Imagine you going to work, you know they're gonna close, but you don't know when they're gonna close, but you know you got to get paid. Well, how the hell you know you're gonna walk into work with that attitude? Like, you don't want to be here. Mm-hmm. You're not happy to be here. You know you're losing your job. You don't know what's next. There's so much uncertainty in your life where you need this job to maintain. And this server that we had the complete opposite of that. He was friendly. He was cheerful. He was cracking jokes. He was exciting. He was accommodating. He was everything that you would have wanted in a server. And we were sitting there.
And y'all have 4 kids with y'all.
We had 4 kids. There was how many adults? 5 adults? 5 adults. 4 kids. Mm-hmm. We had a full table. Kids is making noise, whatever. And he would just come on over, cry. He was also serving multiple tables at a time. It wasn't just us. Mm-hmm. Our table could have been 2-3 tables itself. But he was serving these other tables. He came back, checked on us, let us know, hey, just let you guys know we're low on staff for obvious reasons that I can't talk about. Obviously, they're closing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, we're trying to make it work. Just please be patient. I'll do what I can.
Oh, was Red Lobster full? Sorry. Just wondering.
It was actually pretty full.
Oh, okay.
It was actually pretty full. And he was like, yeah, I'm just, so he came and bought us salads. Like, hey, guys, I'm going to give you guys this free salads because your food's going to take some time. I'm like, oh, we getting free salads? He's like, it's on the house. He's like, we won't be here too much longer, but it's on the house, right? He's cracking jokes, and we were just like, damn, this guy's really good this whole time. His name is Andrew, I believe. Yeah, Andrew. And he's really good and accommodating. Everybody's like, yo, like, what are you doing after this? He's like, I don't know. I'm going to have to figure it out. I got a wife and kids. I believe he said he was a vet, whatever. And I'm like, yo, if I could help this guy out, I could, right? And I would. So at the end of the conversation, we were all checking out. We gave him an amazing tip. He was super flexible with everything. And at the end of the night, I'm like, yo, you know what? I don't know if I got a role for you or not, but check us out on social media. Here's my phone number. Shoot me a text, and maybe we can figure something out. Maybe there's a role for you in our company, right? And I have no idea. He's like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I own a cleaning business. I own some, I also own an education business where we help people, start their own cleaning businesses. Check out cleaningbusinessuniversity.com if you want to learn more about that. That's a quick commercial break. But I was like, I don't know what you could do, but you have a great personality. We might be able to figure something out. And now I say all that to say, I don't know where that's going to go, right? He might never hit me up, or he might. And then I still might not be able to know where he's going to go. But I'm like, he was a great person, great personality. And I'm like, we could figure something out. So I would say when you're thinking about business and business is all around us, sometimes you might be looking for people online. It might make sense to get offline and find good people online. I mean, in person. So that was the moral of that. So you might find good people in unlikely places. So always show up and do your best because you never know who's going to be watching you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in any capacity. I agree.
So now,
wherever you go,
I tweeted about this guy. The tweet went fake viral. I posted it on our social media.
Viral tweets.
Yeah, my tweets be going off. I posted on our social media page. People like, yo, that's a great idea, blah, blah, blah. And now we're talking about it on the podcast, right? You never know who's going to be watching you. So maybe I'll run into Andrew. I might go run up on him like, yo, you hit me up. Yeah, what's good? Like, you trying to work or not? Like, we can figure this out. Some space. But you never know who's watching. You never know what opportunities may be out there for you. So always show up in your best capacity when you can.
Yes.
That's the moral of that story.
All right. And our last lesson learned in our weeks of existing, I guess.
These last couple weeks.
Number 8 is businesses everywhere. So we have a child, and if you have a child, you probably know who Miss Rachel is. So there's a whole thing. We constantly have conversations about Miss Rachel, and then there's also somebody named Blippi and Mika. And the reason why we're talking about this is because we recently went to a Blippi and Mika show locally. And so we always like, why Miss Rachel don't got? Why Miss Rachel don't got? And even before then, during Christmas, I saw Amazon sent the book. Blippi has like merchandise, so tons of merch, like actual toys and books and all these things. Miss Rachel does not have this. So we were like the comparison of the two, like trying to figure that out.
And then we went down a rabbit hole with him.
And for her, Miss Rachel was a school teacher that started doing videos online because she couldn't find, I think her son had like a speech issue. She couldn't find those type of videos, so she started doing it on her own. Husband is a musician on Broadway, composer, something like that he's done. So he does the music, she does the videos. If you look at her older videos, it's very like very baseline in her apartment, just getting it done. So that's who she is, and that's how she has started. To my knowledge, she still owns this Miss Rachel. I think it's called Songs for Littles or whatever. She still owns this YouTube or whatever. Now, Blippi on this other side, he also has somebody named Mika, and he goes to different locations, which is a bigger difference from Miss Rachel. Once again, she was a teacher, so their lessons are a little different. And so we're like, why doesn't Miss Rachel have A, B, and C? Because any parent that you speak to would say Miss Rachel is a third parent or someone that they love in the household. Maybe your kid watches Blippi, maybe not. But everyone knows Miss Rachel. So she could be bigger, if you will, doing tours of shows and having merchandise, if you will. But she doesn't. She's finally coming out with her first book this year. I think it's September, finally. And so we were talking about the differences of the two of them. Like, she still owns it. He has sold it. It is actually her doing it. All those other things. So what else did we learn about the differences?
Number one, he started his YouTube. It was just a YouTube page that he started, and just him dressing up, which is Blippi. Him dressing up. This is 2000 and...
Yeah, I don't know how long she's been around. A while, too.
You could look it up or something. But... we found out that he sold the rights to his show for $10 million.
Was it 10 or 100?
Was it 100? It was 10. It wasn't 100. I don't think it was 100. $10 million. It was a YouTube channel that he just started.
She started in 2019.
Yeah. So in a couple years, she'll be where he is. And if not further. So you got somebody who's done the thing that you want to do. And the problem is that a lot of times we, like, what was it? I forgot what the tweet was. But essentially, he started this channel, and he was just posting these videos, and essentially sold it to, was it Disney or Sony or something, like some studio or something like that for $10 million. And he sold the rights, he sold, whatever, and he's just living his life. We went on his Instagram page, and he was just in his car doing a video or something like that. But could you imagine starting something on YouTube that you didn't even know was going to take off the way it did, and being able to sell it for, I think, 10 years later for $10 million or something like that?
I told you it was something big.
He was acquired for $120 million
by Moonbug Entertainment, which then was acquired by Disney.
So Disney bought it from So it was acquired for $120 million. Wow, it wasn't 10, $120 million.
$120 million.
I don't know if he got $120 million. We got to look that up.
It says Stephen John sold Blippi in a deal valued. Okay, maybe it's not valued at $120 million. In December 2023.
So, and then they sold it to Disney for $3 billion. $3 billion with a B. So you're like, well, how does this even apply to business? I don't know. But business
this is a business. This is a full business.
Business is everywhere. And we're having this conversation like, how did they even start, right? This is one of the things we do in our household. Like, you guys may not, like, we will be sitting there watching something. I'm like, damn, what is this even? Like, it was just
Who is he? Because you're always like, who the hell is he? Why are we going to a show?
Because we were going to the show, and the show was expensive. It was like $70 a person.
I don't remember.
$60 a person. I'm like, this show is expensive. And I know who he is because we watched the show.
It's like 40 something, but after the fees on Ticketmaster.
Yeah, we were watching the show, and I'm like, why are we going there in person? There's so many people there. That's what kind of made me trigger
and then
to go back. And the merchandise. And the glasses and the kids, I didn't know how big it was until we got to that show.
Because he's not as big for us in our household as it was for the people at the show. They clearly knew songs that we didn't know. And
we were like, we're so far behind.
Like,
Alani's only 2, so that's the furthest we'll be 2 years in. But I came back and I was just so baffled by how do all these people know who this guy is and how big is he? Because we watched a little 10, 15-minute video and we came back and went down a rabbit hole and we were like, it was $20 million. Until we saw that Disney bought it from them for $3 billion. And it was like, could you imagine?
And then it became, why doesn't Miss Rachel have this?
And we went down the rabbit hole of Miss Rachel. Like, is Miss Rachel going to be able to sell her? So if you think about it like this, he started 10 years before Miss Rachel, and he was able to sell his for $120 million. Miss Rachel is where she is today, and she has the information that he had, plus the information that she has today.
But she doesn't operate that way
not
still,
yet,
though.
But it's not yet because
she hasn't sold it.
Because think about it, when he started, he was where she is now. So she's still trying to navigate where he was 8 years ago. Her first video is trying to figure this out. Now she has the understanding that he was able to sell his for $120 million. If you're able to take the information that somebody already has,
he started in 2014.
2014. She started in 2020.
She started 2019, yeah.
2019. So she's 5 years behind him, but she also has information that he didn't have when he started.
Yeah, so he started in 2014. He joined the Moonbud Net Entertainment in 2020, so 6 years after starting. And then he sold to them 3 years after. So within 8 years, he was able to sell his company at $120 million.
So like our business coach,
she's at 5 years.
She had this lady on the podcast, and they were talking about Madam C.J. Walker, right? Madam C.J. Walker was the first black millionaire, first black woman millionaire, first black millionaire in general. I don't remember which one it is. But she was saying, the lady on the episode was just saying, hey, I mimicked her model, and I knew that if she was able to do $1 million back then, I should be able to do $100 million in my business today. And Donnie was just saying that I can't fathom doing $100 million. She's like, no, you need to fathom doing $500 million. She's like, if I'm able to do $100 million and she was able to do $1 million, you should be able to do $500 million. And now it just makes you think differently. So if Miss Rachel saw that
we're rooting for you, Miss Rachel.
He sold his company for $120 million. I have the information that he didn't have. I have the tools that he didn't have, the technology, I have the AI, I have the graphics, I have the team, I have the marketing,
the audience,
I have the branding, I have the audience that he didn't have. I should be able to sell my company for $500 million.
Yeah.
And get acquired for maybe $8 billion, $10 billion. So sometimes it just takes us having that head start and just seeing what somebody else is doing so that we can know what we need to do for ourselves.
Agreed.
So
we went off on a tangent on that.
That was the whole business.
I'm like $10 million. I'm like, no, I think it was bigger than that. $10 million is a lot. Don't get me wrong, but
everywhere. But you got to be able to look at what other people are doing and be able to say, if they could do that, I should be able to do this.
And I know Miss Rachel can. Okay, if you're listening, Miss Rachel, I know that you can. And I want to see merch. People will wear the jumper and the pink headband suit as well because that's how she dresses. And yes, we know that you can be as big or bigger than them. They're doing tours now. Obviously, it's not the person, but you have to license it out in order to do that and it not be you yourself touring in every city. So
another concept that could be applicable to this. Think about Tyler Perry when he started and he was doing the tours.
It was just him.
He was doing everything himself.
Yeah.
So now people come into the game and they see what Tyler Perry is doing. Like Kevin Hart is like, I'm seeing what Tyler Perry has done with his production studio. Now I'm building it. So if Tyler Perry was able to hit $1 billion. Kevin Hart is like, yo, I got the same infrastructure and I've learned from him, so I should be able to do quicker, more than that and faster. So
just like our students.
So we got students who are doing 100,000 in their first year. We only did 80, and then we got students hitting $1 million in half the time that we did. It's like if we had the coaching, the infrastructure, the blueprint that you guys had, and I was like, you should be able to do that in half the time that we did. It's all about taking that information and taking it to that next level. So business is everywhere. Consume what you have and use the resources that people have given you.
Yes. So thank you for listening to our 8 lessons. We didn't think of 2 more. It's 8.
Yeah.
8 business lessons we learned over the past few weeks. Make sure you are commenting with us and
let us know what your takeaway. What was your favorite lesson?
Yeah. And see you again in next week.
All right, guys. Peace.
Take care.